Good afternoon. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming. I'm Paul Little. I'm the President and CEO of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce. We are here presenting with our partner, the Small Business Development Center here at Pasadena City College and the college, this Access Opportunity Procurement Forum. We are very pleased to have Propulsion Laboratory, the Pasadena Unified School District, PCC, here to talk and explain, and well, a couple of them are going to explain their process and what it takes and what they look for from local businesses, and then you have a chance, if you like, afterwards to talk to them one-on-one specifically about what you do and how your plumbing.
Her plumbing.
The wrong one. Anyway, how your plumbing company can get to Mars or whatever. Anyway, my favorite, Carl Bird from JPL, is on the board, and I keep telling him that I want the next time they send something to Mars to put our membership application on it, so that I can be the first chamber to recruit off planet. And he tells me it'll only take $1 billion or so to do that.
That might be a little low.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
So we're going to have a big fun now. Anyway, but thank you all for coming out. We really appreciate your being here, supporting the chamber, and taking advantage of the programs that we offer. One thing too, if you are not a chamber member and are interested in joining the chamber, those of you who are here for the next week or so, if you'd like to join the chamber, we will offer you a membership at $200 for the first year. Discounted by about almost a third. So if you're interested in joining the chamber and are already a member, for the first year you can join for $200. Just talk to Kelly out here. And I would like to introduce Solomon Dowla. Solomon is Dean of Workforce and Economic Development.
Yes.
Okay, here at the college, and is also a chamber board member.
Right.
As are a couple of other folks here in the audience. If you're a chamber board member, would you raise your hand so everybody can see you? You're an aspiring chamber board member. Anyway, Solomon.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to welcome everyone here on behalf of Pasadena City College. We're honored to be able to host this event. I think we've hosted it for the last 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. For which I'm very proud to say that PCC as a community college invests in the local community in many ways. Obviously educational-wise, but if the businesses don't grow, then our students don't have the pipeline to try to be better prepared for different industries. There's great relationships I've been able to garnish through this board. Justin and I were just talking right before this meeting about a potential apprenticeship program. So if everyone here is in an industry for which apprenticeship or training can be garnished within your industry, that's something that I would be highly interested to talk to you about, because the truth is that a lot of our training may have to be done on the field, right, on the job. And I think the state is finally realizing that. Actually, the nation is finally realizing that. Is allowing for policy to be modified where I can be in partnership with some of you in the audience, like I am with Justin and even with Paul, to help me educate the next workforce. And that's sort of my skin in the game in this particular role here in the college. So I welcome all of you, and encourage you to talk to many of our procurement officers that are here. They help me with a lot of our relationships that we establish here in our college. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Pasadena City College is a huge resource for the community and also for the businesses here in our area. So thank you again, Solomon. And Salvatrice, wait, everybody. She didn't want to say anything. Okay. Well, Salvatrice runs the Small Business Development Center here at PCC, which actually has offices at the campus in East Pasadena.
Thank you. I just wanted you to get to the meat of why you're here and not hear me talk. But we're proud supporters of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce, and we work collectively together to assist our business owners. And when you think about procurement, when you think about going out for a bidding on a contract, the affiliates that are here and the folks that are here can certainly help you with the process and the application process. But where the SBDC comes in is oftentimes what we see is we have business owners that have secured the contract, but now don't know how to execute it, right? Or they don't have enough support, operational structure, or even capital to support the contract. So folks come to us And that's why we work collectively with these agencies, is that the business owners come to us and say, you know what, we're gracious and we're happy that we access this contract, but now what? I need more capital in order to execute this. How do I do that? Or my operations need to be skewed as such so that we can become more efficient. How do I do that? And it's a great opportunity. It's not a challenge, it's certainly an opportunity. And that's where we come in and help them strategize behind that and show them what to do and how to do it. So we're here as a resource for you. Our offices are not on this physical campus, but on the satellite campus off of Foothill Boulevard. I have cards here if any of you are interested in reaching out. But I'm strictly talking about procurement, but there's other things that we certainly offer services on, business planning and marketing and loans and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm going to hang out here for the entire presentation, and I'd be happy to sidebar with you after. Thank you.
They're a tremendous resource for new businesses and also established businesses.
Yep.
Take advantage. And now I get to introduce Steve Alford. Steve is manager in your card is different. So business opportunities office at JPL. And Steve is going to take some time to explain how you can do business at General Laboratory. Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well,
thank you for having me. Certainly coming to the campus brings back a lot of good memories for me. PCC graduate. I'm afraid to give you the year, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. 1983. Very old, long time. As you can see, that picture was taken at JPL on a non-drought year. But actually, my business card, I get the best of both worlds in my job. I manage the project acquisition management area, and basically we have seasoned JPL acquisition professionals that lead up all of our flight missions. So not only do I get to participate in the great missions we do at JPL, I also get to manage the small business program. And we certainly have a lot of terrific small businesses supporting us in a lot of the missions we're doing at JPL. So hopefully you Pasadena locals are familiar with the laboratory, but I thought I'd just go through a little bit of information, talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it. So just kind of some metrics. As you can see, we're in Pasadena. We've got about 5,300 employees on lab, as well as the Woodbury facility that's about a mile away from the main campus. We do about $1.6 billion is our business base every year, and about $750 million goes out in contracts, POs, subcontracts, and P-card transactions. So about 177 acres, so we're roughly about the size of Disneyland. 139 buildings, about 673,000 net square feet of office space, and even more lab space, to the tune of about 906,000 net square feet. So as you can imagine, a facility of that size, lots of business opportunities, a whole wide variety of facilities, maintenance to plumbing, painting, electrical work, you name it. We get a lot of work just maintaining our facility, and then you do everything above and beyond that, and there's plenty of opportunity. So, moving on. So our mission, obviously, we do a lot of work with Mars. Mars Curiosity is still up there. The Opportunity is still up there. Curiosity is still going. We've got 3 orbiters in orbit around Mars, so we got a lot of interest in Mars, a lot of work focused on exploring Mars for ancient possibility of the right characteristics to support ancient life. So we have found evidence of that with the Curiosity rover. So right now we're working on Mars 2020. NASA thought that the Mars Science Laboratory mission went so well that they asked us to do it again. So we're building another nuclear-powered rover for Mars in 2020. So more opportunity for businesses to participate on that mission. But we do a lot of solar system. The Voyager spacecraft, 37 years and counting, still operating in space, believe it or not, now outside of the influence of our sun. But exoplanets, looking for other Earth-like planets, might be our future home. So if we keep depleting the natural resources on Earth. But a lot of astrophysics, earth science, interplanetary network is the Deep Space Network. We basically run the Deep Space Network that tracks all of our spacecraft for NASA. And so we manage that area. So there's a close tie-in between NASA, JPL, and Caltech. I'm actually a Caltech employee. They manage the prime contract we have with NASA that gets our $1.6 billion business base from. So we do some other work for other agencies, DoD, some of the other government agencies that we will do work with as well under that prime. But the funding comes from NASA under our prime contract with task orders, and Caltech manages that prime contract for JPL. So that's how we get our work and get assigned funding. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like I said, $1.6 billion business space. That was our FY14 award, $757 million in contracts. A lot of infrastructure work, and then the rest is done with the JPL workforce. So that's how it's kind of split up between procurements, the infrastructure of running the lab, including the JPL workforce. Infrastructure includes, for instance, City of Pasadena doesn't want to lease the land for our east parking lot anymore, so I guess they can sell the water they can collect from the arroyo, more effectively, make more money that way. So we had to build an $18 million parking structure. So we had a lot of businesses come in to help us build that 1,400 space parking structure that we've been waiting about 20 years to build. So that's what we kind of do. So what do we buy and how? That's just, I won't go through this eye chart, but that's the acquisition management. So I work for Carl. Frank, he mentioned Carl Bird is my manager, and Andre's my deputy manager. But those are all the section managers on the top row, and their group supervisors are under me. Anyway, we're going to make this presentation available, right? So you'll have this information. See me. I'll give you my card. I can get you contact information for folks in the areas where we buy the products or services that you offer. So anyway, so the acquisition division, we're responsible for managing everything, all the purchase of goods and services, everything we do at the laboratory. It's comprised of 6 primary sections with 13 work groups under those sections. We have a commodity purchasing section, which is where a lot of the commercially available products and services are purchased. We have a planning and compliance organization that helps us make sure we're abiding by our prime contract with NASA, and then all sorts of other things. And you can see the flight project program subcontracts, and the one in red is me. So I get to manage the project acquisition management of our flight project and the small business program, so that's a good thing. And of course, we do a lot of work with the university community. We get a lot of our science team members from the universities all over the world, actually. So we have a section dedicated to the unique contracts we issue with the educational community. The kind of stuff that we buy, you can see just about everything. Commodities, like I said, is the area where we buy a lot of the commercially available products and services, and a host of other things. The flight section is where all our major flight programs are handled. All the hardware, everything from a system contract that we would give to like a Lockheed Martin to build the entire spacecraft, down to a job like Mars Science Lab, where we buy every little nut and bolt at JPL. So we have a labor and services section, and you can see we do a lot of our labor support subcontracts in that area. It includes all sorts of facilities maintenance, facilities construction, you name it. It's all handled in Dale Wright's section. And then research, I mentioned, is the university section is what I mentioned. They are the ones that are doing scientific investigations, getting the science team members to work on our projects, collaborating on proposals we would develop to submit to NASA and other agencies to get more work, and that's where that gets done. So, how do we do that? You can see the left-hand side, nothing too revolutionary there, but define the requirements, figure out who you're going to send your RFP or RFQ to, issue that solicitation, make your source selection. It's a wide range of different selection approaches, small, low bid, technically acceptable low bid, all the way through the largest procurement we do is a source evaluation board procurement for things over $50 million. So that's a very, very elaborate process that we go through. It takes 6 to 8 months to go through. It's for the very largest contracts we issue. So negotiate that contract, award the contract, make sure that the folks are doing their job and delivering the products and services on time for the costs we negotiated, and then close that contract out. But like I said, we use a whole host of different vehicles for doing our purchases, everything from simple purchase order to a P-card program. We have about 450 P-card holders at the lab who can make small purchases on their credit card, $2,500, no, it's $3,000 now, $3,000 or less can be done on a credit card. Blanket agreements where we buy a whole host of things like EEE parts, mechanical fab, you name it, we do things like that under a blanket. Certainly look at GSA schedules, so if you don't have a GSA schedule, that's certainly a great opportunity because those awards do not have to be competed and we do not have to perform a cost reasonableness assessment because it's already done up front by the GSA. E-commerce is a big part of what we do. And then, of course, the biggest subcontracts are for mostly our major flight programs and the larger subcontracts that we do. Here's kind of just a listing of the commodity purchasing subcontracts and when they're expiring. So if you see something up there on the list that strikes your fancy, see us and we can give you more information about who's handling the procurement, how to get on the source list, you name it. So you can see those are just a small sampling of the type of subcontracts done in commodities. How to best respond to an RFQ? Obviously, submit it by the due date. We're real sticklers for that. I'm running 5 minutes late. If it's late, it's late. We cannot accept it. It's just a fairness issue. A lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people show up, 15 minutes late, and we just have to turn them away. So that's really serious deal. Price out everything we've asked for. Make sure you complete the RFQ. Submit questions or concerns prior to the quote due date because we will answer those. And then be price competitive. A lot of these things in the commodity purchasing section are low bid. So, and note that we will not disclose the pricing of the winning bidder. So, we will protect your sensitive information, but sharpen your pencils, be competitive, and you'll win awards at JPL. There is a supplier database, and if you go to that link, we have, through the Business Opportunities Office that I manage, we have a supplier profile form that you can fill out and send to us, and we will add you to our database. So we have a database that's strictly limited to the small business community, and so we're looking, when we're looking for a hub zone or an SDB or something like that, we'll go to that list. So fill out that form, send it to us, and we'll add you to our database. We do a lot of business, as I mentioned, with large subcontractors, and you can see. Do a lot of work with Lockheed Martin, and for these large primes, we require them to submit a small business subcontracting plan. And they have to commit to goals in all the different categories, and then we measure their performance against that. So they are incentivized to give you small businesses an opportunity to do the work that we've given to them. And then we monitor their progress and tell them whether they're doing well or not, and continue to apply pressure for them to do more. So Excelis does the space network out in the Mojave Desert called Goldstone. It's one of our large DSN sites. We also have one site in Madrid, Spain, and another one in Canberra, Australia. So as the Earth rotates, we have constant coverage. Lockheed Martin has a very large contract called DICE. It's Desktop Infrastructure Support. And that's where we get most of our hardware. This is a fine Lockheed Martin Surface right here. So we get most of our computing support from Lockheed Martin, but once again, another vendor that does very well getting small business opportunities. Orbital Science is another large aerospace firm that we do frequent business with. Well, the success stories that we've had, these are very large contracts awarded to small business. Maury Associates doing an IT support contract for us, small woman-owned business. So she's helping me get my woman-owned, we're actually doubling the goal, our woman-owned goal in our prime contract with the work we're giving Maury. So she's doing well for us, and she's helping me. Santa Barbara Applied Research is currently one of our TSEP subcontracts. It's a staffing subcontract. That particular job is being recompeted as we speak, and the announcement is about a week away on the selected source for the small business set-aside competition we ran for that job. So, and that's, I'm not sure if I mentioned that. To make sure that we do select small business, we will do small business set-asides where we limit the competitive field to just small business. So we use NAICS code, appropriate NAICS code, and as long as you fall under that NAICS code, then you're qualified to submit a proposal, and we will limit it to those types of businesses. Malin does most of our cameras at JPL, and Dr. Malin and his team are a small business, and they do all of our cameras on just about every mission we do. So they do a great job for us. Dynamic Systems is one of our blanket subcontracts. It's an procurement, electronic catalog procurement. So we buy a lot of our workstations and servers under that one, another small business. And then stress analysis is getting done by work with you, receive your information, hook you up with the customer base at JPL, and we go from there. So there we go. So you can see a little over a quarter of every dollar needs to go to small business at JPL. So that's a prime contract goal, and that's what I work to. So you can see all the other different classifications that we have to try and meet those goals. And from a dollars perspective, there's how much we did in FY14. So about $151 million to small business at JPL, and then some of the other ones. There it is, just in a pie chart. Okay, so we do outreach events. One thing we do is the Small Business Supplier Fair. We invite companies to come in and set up tables, kind of like what we've got over here, display their goods and services, and we invite all the customers from JPL to come into to our Von Karman auditorium and talk to these vendors. So we rotate opportunities, so if you want to get on this into one of our supplier fairs, contact Mary Helen or Jasmine, and we'll give you an opportunity to come and display your goods and services at that event. We also do a small business roundtable conference that is kind of part educational and part outreach about the overall process of getting a contract and everything else. And then we were doing a very large small business high-tech conference. Unfortunately, NASA has told us that it grew too large. The 1 year that I did it when I took over this office, we had about 1,000 people show up to the conference. I guess our NASA sponsor considered it kind of getting a little out of scope to what JPL should manage. So now we are supporting an outside organization that is now carrying on the high-tech conference, and we'll be there as exhibitors and support it. We're hoping that this one will grow to the same level that we were able to build after 25 years of experience doing it. So very kind of disappointing from our perspective because we love doing it. We found great sources through it, but now we're just going to have to muddle through with that one. Another thing we do is called 15 Minutes with the Business Opportunities Office. No appointments necessary. Every Thursday from 9 to 11 or 1 to 3, show up to JPL, tell the guards you're going to visitor control because you're going to this meeting. Just drop in, drop your line card off. You'll have an opportunity to talk with Jasmine or Mary Helen, sometimes myself, and we'll talk to you, see what you've got to offer, and see if we can hook you up with the right customer base at JPL. And product demonstrations. Sometimes we'll get requests to actually have some of these companies come in and actually demonstrate some of their technology development items or what have you. So also an opportunity. Those are some key websites. So if you want to look for online RFPs or RFQs, you can go to that top one. We also support the NASA Office of Small Business Programs, and Glenn Delgado is the AA, works right under the NASA administrator, so he's got the NASA administrator's attention. And he considers JPL a key part of the NASA team when it comes to small business programs. So we're quite proud of that relationship and work that very closely. NASA Vendor Database is another area that you should explore. Don't limit your focus on just JPL. There's lots of other centers and lots of other work. So, go in there, register, find out what other opportunities are out there at the other centers. And then System Award Management, or SAM. That's a government site where you can self-certify to your size, identify your NAICS code, and it's an area that we use to find sources for particular areas. So that's a federal site that we use frequently, so I would certainly encourage that. And that's it. Hopefully I didn't go too long.
No.
There I am, and Jasmine and Mary Helen are on the staff that assist us with all that activity. So please give them. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. We really appreciate that, and folks I know who have gone to the Boo.
Yeah, boo, that's what we call it.
Up at JPL actually find it very worthwhile because you do get a chance to take 15 minutes and pitch your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll be out there with my membership thing from Mars.
Absolutely.
So now, if I could, I'd like to invite Christine Ward. Christine is Administrator of Procurement and Contracts with our Pasadena Unified School District here, which is, it turns out, one of our largest employers and also a procurer locally. So, Christine, thank you, and you have other team members.
Thank you, I do. We're not quite as large a budget as JPL and Morgan, but we do business here. My name is Christine Ward. I'm the Administrator of Procurement and Contracts for the Pasadena Unified School District. My department is responsible for writing purchase orders and vetting contracts for all the school districts, departments, and school sites. We're also responsible for maintaining our vendor list. Pasadena Unified School District is mostly site-based management, which means our school sites get their budgets annually. They decide either just with their principal or mostly through site council. They decide what they need for that school year or for that fiscal year. Once their decisions are made on what they want to procure with their budget or what their needs are for that year, they send my department a requisition. Once we get the requisition, we review it and we try to do informal requests for quotes on those goods and services to get the best price for the district. So sometimes the vendors will change. They'll send a requisition in with a certain vendor that they would like to do business with. Sometimes it gets changed based on what we're able to find out. Many times in our district, department managers figure out what their needs are, let's say for maintenance and operations. Technology sets standards for their technological needs. So all the quoting goes through that department as well. So we work together, many of our departments in the district. There's no real application process to become a vendor for the district. Basically, email me, tell me what you sell or what you can offer the district, and then I can put you in our vendor database. It's always good to have catalogs and or lists of supplies that you do sell or would like to see the district, publicized to the district. I can then give that information to our school sites and our departments. The district currently only pre-qualifies construction contractors and only for a limit of dollar amount of projects. So currently our school board passed a resolution for us to become part of the state of California cost construction accounting program, which means that any projects valued between $45,000 and $175,000 for construction contracts, these vendors have to be pre-qualified, and then we can informally bid those projects to the pre-qualified vendors. So if any of you out there are a construction company and you would like to become part of that list, I have brought applications. They're over at the table over there. You can fill those applications out. We can vet them and get you on the list. If you hold a particular license, let's say a B license, we would send you an informal notice inviting bid, and then you can bid that project. We also keep those applications on file on my website, and that's pusd.us. And you can go to the business, click on the business department, and then procurement, and that application is available to you. I've also put my business cards over there on that table. Please pick one up if you want to send me an email, if you want to make an appointment. I'd be happy to do that with you. The district is always looking to support small businesses. Currently, we have a local bond that was passed about 5 years ago, and the Board of Education for the school district would like to see 25% local hire for that bond, those bond projects. Now, those bond projects, anything over $175,000, has to be bid formally. But if you're a smaller contractor and you can't do $1 million project, you can possibly solicit as a subcontractor to those projects. And again, all those have to be formally bid. We do advertise all of our formal construction projects in the Pasadena Journal. And it's a 14-day publication of any projects that we intend to bid over $175,000. It's also advertised on my website, pusd.us. Click on business and then procurement. And then we also have a local bond website. It's measureTT.org. And that solicits all of our construction projects related to our local bond program. So if you ever need assistance and you think the district can utilize your company, we would love to hear from you. I do have, again, my business cards over at the table and the applications. I've also brought along some department heads that are part of the district that make decisions on behalf of their department. Mr. Ralph Peshek is our Director of Food Services. And then I have Khalil Harrington, who is our Director of Maintenance and Operations. Mr. Harrington does a lot of small projects. He has plumbing needs, electrical needs. He's got many needs for service contracts that are small for our district, and he makes those decisions, letting out those contracts generally. So I'd like to invite Ralph up now to speak on behalf of his department, and then Khalil can follow. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am the administrator of child nutrition for Pasadena Unified School District, and my budget is not as big as JPL's either. But just in my department, I procure over $4 million worth of food and supplies on an annual basis. We are the largest restaurant chain in town, servicing over 35 locations, 5 different meal periods each day. What I would say is I also fall under very strict USDA and California Department of Education nutrition and wellness and purchasing guidelines. And so we work with a lot of specialty vendors that really focus on child nutrition products from the food side. For my department, some of the things that we look forward, especially within our local community, mailing services, communication out to our families and our communities is very important. Printing services I go out for, chemical services for our department. Obviously, we want to keep our kitchens very clean, paper goods as well. So my scope is a lot smaller within that area. But what I would say is within my department, over 50% of my purchases actually are within a 200-mile radius for our manufacturing and partner group. So the food service department, as well as the rest of the school district, really has a focus on supporting California as well as businesses here in the San Gabriel Valley. So if you're printing, mailing services, paper goods, chemicals, please reach out to us. We do have small needs when it comes to what we call a la carte foods, which are the non-school meal type items, the snack items that kids like. And so we do have some limited opportunities to work with local restaurants with their products, if we can get them to work within those very special guidelines we work with them. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Harrington to come up and speak to you a little bit about his department. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Khalil Harrington. Like Christina mentioned, I'm in charge of maintenance, operations, and what she didn't mention is transportation as well for the school district. We maintain all of our schools. We have approximately 36 sites that we take care of, and from the elementary schools, high schools, and even district facilities, the Ed Center, our district service center, and different child care centers. So there's about 36 sites. In my department, I have all the trades that we deal with: plumbing, electrical, carpentry, HVAC, painting. I have ground employees, custodial workers. So I have all those trades under me, and we are often looking for some of the newer, better items that are out there that will make us work a little smarter, not harder. So we're always in a need for that. Custodial supplies is one that we definitely look into. We, spend about $1.5 million a year in custodial supplies district-wide. And that's from cleaning supplies, floor waxes, and strippers, stuff like that, that we often are looking for. with our trades, we definitely look for opportunities to work with some of the newer products that are out there for HVAC, for control systems. We look for different manufacturers for maybe for HVAC filters and stuff like that. So we look at products like that, and we try to buy locally as much as possible to fit into the 25% that the district is trying to do on local hiring. We also try to do the same thing on our supplies. And we buy our lumber local for our carpenter shop, door hardware, plumbing hardware. We try to stay local as possible. And we are always looking for competitive pricing for those things. And I don't know what else. Let's see. That's with our electrical and mechanical supplies. So I don't know if there's anything else. Maybe any questions or anything? Since I think I'm the last one here.
What about Wi-Fi?
For Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi falls under our technology department, and that's a little separate division, so that does not fall under the maintenance and operations. So a lot of times people get confused between, we have two departments rather. We have maintenance and operations, and then we have facilities. And the way I explained to everyone, facilities, they do the modernization, the remodeling, the construction of a new building. Maintenance and operations, we are the keeper of the flame. After this project is done, we maintain it and take care of the repairs of the existing product as it goes on. And we carry that on for the life of the building. So we are involved in a lot of the bidding processes for the facilities and for the bond measure. We do have a say-so in the projects. We do have district standards. And we have a standardized book of the equipment that we have itemized or listed as a district standard that we like to use. It has not yet been sole sourced, but we do have a standard that has been given to our architects that know that this is the kind of, if it's a toilet fixture, it's a standard or whatever it might be, whatever make or model that might be, we have a district standard that we like to apply to. But we also know there's many vendors out there that we can buy it from. So it's not just from the manufacturer, we can buy it from any of the distributors that are local as well. So we're definitely looking for those type of things. Okay. All righty. With that, I'd like to thank you.
We will make all of the contact information, JPL slides, will be available on the Chamber website. It'll take me a couple of days, but and also the video, which is homemade, but that will be up there as well. And you can also find actually the video for the last 2 years. Presentation and contact information is up there as well. Folks are here from the school district, Caltech, JPL, and PCC to talk with you. There were some other folks who had last minute changes in schedule. Their contact information will be up there as well. There are lots of folks in town here who want to do business with you. So we will make all of that information that we have available on the Chamber website. Just look for Access Opportunity, probably sometime after the weekend. Thank you all again for coming out. Thank you, PCC and SBDC, for hosting us, and Salatrice, thank you. And thank you all for coming out. We really appreciate your support and your time.
Oh, yeah.